Alright everyone, welcome back to the Sam Redgate-Large channel. It's another day, and this week it is part 2 or part B or whatever you want to say of the Champions League round of 16 predictions.
We're back and we're ready for it all over again.
Last week we had some interesting and entertaining games, of course, in the Champions League with Inter Milan, Liverpool, Real Madrid, PSG. Some very, very good games, and Manchester City winning 5-0 at home. 5-0, man. That second leg, which I'm going to, is going to look like it's going to be all under 18s.
Hello there.
All under 18s. But we shall talk tonight about Chelsea. We shall talk about Lille, Atletico, Manchester United. We've got Ajax and Benfica, and of course Villarreal and Juventus. If you are new to this channel, do be sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe. That would be absolutely fantastic. We're on our way now to 700 subscribers. So, you know, if you can do me the favour of dropping that subscribe, that would be absolutely brilliant. But today, we are going to be talking about those teams. Let me know your predictions for the next sort of 8 teams. Who do you think is going to come through in the round of 16? And of course, let me know in the comment section below what you think to that. But we're going to start off, and we'll do it in chronological order, and we'll start off with my boys in blue, Chelsea. And this is a really difficult one to sort of work out, because when you look at the two teams, on paper, you've got to say there's only one winner here, and that is Chelsea. But I don't like being that confident. Anyone who knows me knows that I don't like being that confident. And of course, they've got Chelsea will have Romelu Lukaku. Romelu, the Belgian striker, Romelu. They will have Timo Werner.
What is this?
Kai Havertz, players that maybe haven't been in the greatest of form. But the way that Thomas Tuchel can set up this Chelsea team is phenomenal. We've scraped a 1-0 win against Crystal Palace at the weekend. To be honest, in my personal opinion, it could have been more, but also Crystal Palace did have a few opportunities themselves. And so Chelsea, despite seemingly having lost some form, come into this on some relatively good form actually. Chelsea haven't actually lost since the game against Manchester City, where they only lost 1-0. So I don't think we can rule Chelsea out quite at the moment. But to turn the table,
Well. How the turntables.
I think we've got to talk about Lille, and we've got to talk about their qualities. We know there's a lot of quality in this Lille side, but they're maybe not showing it at the moment. Currently sat down in 11th in Ligue 1, which obviously a league that is, like I mentioned last week, discredited anyway. Lille are more than capable, we know, turning up on their day. They've got excellent players. They've got players that are more than capable of doing damage in that sense themselves. And I just think it's going to be too much for them. They've obviously got Jonathan David, Hatem Ben Arfa, Renato Sanchez. So they've got a lot of players who we know and we know well, but I just don't think they've got enough to overhaul Chelsea. I think especially this first match will be really important. As we now know, there is no away goals, which takes a little bit of the drama out of it. But if they find themselves 3-0 down at home following the first leg, I think we can pretty much rule them out. Obviously, though, we've got to look at Chelsea, and Chelsea are a team that, like I said, are maybe firing a few blanks at the moment. So maybe this is Lille's time. But I'm going to go with putting my Chelsea boys through. The reigning champions, of course, the champions of Europe. Did I mention it, by the way? Up next of the Tuesday night fixtures, or tonight for you guys when you are watching this, is Villarreal versus Juventus. And again, this is another interesting fixture when you talk about two sides, because on paper Juventus are probably the side that you look at and go, yeah, okay. I just think Villarreal might be in with a sneaky chance here of getting something. Obviously, we know that maybe some of those goal-scoring worries have disappeared now for Juventus following the departure of Ronaldo and the introduction now in January of Vlahovic, or however you would like to pronounce his name. But I still think there is an opportunity there for Villarreal to conquer. This is a Juventus side that we've got to remember, of course, lost 4-0 to Chelsea in the Champions League already this season. So there are problems there. There are still gaps in there. And of course, they are currently sat in 4th. Whilst not a disastrous season by any stretch of the imagination, they are struggling to keep up with the two Milan teams and Napoli at the moment, which does beg the question, Are they going to go all the way? Can they finish further on? And that is obviously a big question. I think it's a good time to face Juventus. I think it's probably one of the best times to face Juventus. Personally, I don't think you can really visit them at a better time, other than obviously when Chelsea played them earlier on in this season. But when it comes to the round of 16, Juventus are a different gravy. We know the Old Lady are a fantastically run football club of recent, of course, and we know that they're going to be able to do damage. There's no doubt the likes of Dybala's ability, that defensive trio of De Ligt, Bonucci, Chiellini, Szczesny in goal. There is no doubt about the ability of these players, but it just depends. It just depends on what Juventus team turns up. With the second leg being in Turin, that is why I'm going to go with Juventus to prevail. I just think that second leg might actually benefit them quite a lot, knowing that that's there, going to having that home crowd, having already been to Villarreal. And whilst it is two teams that maybe aren't at the best at the moment, I definitely think Juventus maybe even see themselves in the semi-finals of the Champions League this season. Next up, and this is a massive one. If anyone's watched the streams over the weekend, you will be aware that Manchester United, despite blowing a 2-0 lead against Leeds United, did somehow manage to win 4-2. It was an absolutely brilliant game. Thank you for the support on that stream. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But they will be playing this week on Wednesday night. There's a few Premier League games as well, with a double game week for FPL fans. But United will be playing in the Champions League. Atletico Madrid are their hosts, their gracious hosts this season. Of course, they got knocked out by Chelsea at this point last season as well, on Chelsea's tremendous run to the final. Did I say that if we're champions of Europe or not? I can't remember. I think I might have mentioned it. But Atletico versus Manchester United, we know, don't we? We know that Manchester United are in a little bit of a rut. We know Atletico Madrid are very well drilled defensively. And so it's a matter of who will get the better of each other. Will Manchester United's defensive capabilities go to pot once again, like they did against Leeds for 2 and a bit minutes, which saw them concede 2? Or will it be that Ronaldo missed the Champions League? Bruno Fernandes, their top goal scorer over the last 2-3 seasons, can step up for them against a tightly compact defensive unit like Atletico Madrid. Personally, I think Atletico Madrid are the favourites for this one, especially the form coming into it. Yes, Atletico had a poor result a few weeks back against Barcelona, but I think Diego Simeone, he's the world's most expensive manager in terms of wages, of course. I think he's got a lot of talent and he knows what to do on the big nights. That's why we've seen them beat Liverpool in recent years. Yes, of course, they flopped a little bit against Chelsea last year, and I'll keep on mentioning it. But for the most part, I think Atletico are a very well-run squad, and that is, we can't say that, can we? We can't say that about Manchester United at the moment. They aren't the same well-drilled squad that they used to be 10 years ago when they last won their Premier League title. So personally, I'm going with Atletico. I can see there only being one winner, but who knows? We missed the Champions League. Cristiano Ronaldo, anything can happen for Manchester United. Moving on to the final game, and I've probably done this in the correct way. Number one, because of chronological order, but also because Benfica versus Ajax, in terms of big games and big teams, Benfica and Ajax, they're historic teams, they're really good teams, and we've seen them both conquer Europe and do well in Europe before. But maybe they don't have that reputation for being a title killer or a giant of Europe at the moment. Ajax specifically maybe aren't at that level that they used to be when you had your Johan Cruyff, even when you had De Ligt and Frenkie de Jong. Wasn't comparing De Ligt and Frenkie de Jong there to Johan Cruyff. But I think it's a hard one to sort of weigh up. I spoke about Sporting last week, and I was more confident with Sporting to go through than Benfica. And obviously Porto themselves have gone out. So out of the 3 Portuguese sides, Benfica look like they're going to be the last legs or last ability to go through. And maybe that'll spark some incentive. We can almost categorically rule Benfica out of a title this season in the Portuguese league. They're 9 points behind Porto, who are at the top with a game in hand. So I think we can rule them out, and I think their focus will be on the Champions League. So don't be surprised if you see a Benfica team that comes all guns blazing for this in the attempt to get themselves into the latter stages of the Champions League. I think they could do a job, but realistically, you look at Ajax, so you look at the form that Sebastian Haller specifically in the Champions League has been into. It's hard to write anyone else, and obviously they've got the history of those big nights as well in more recent times than Benfica themselves. I think this is probably the closest one to call out of the 4 games. That is just what I think.
What? Nah, I never knew that.
I personally see Ajax going through. I just think there's something in that DNA, the way that they've been set up recently. Of course, Manchester United wanting their head coach as well is high praise of any manager, let alone a manager in the Eredivisie. So I think that's really, really important as well, the way that they set up. They play fast attacking football. They always have done. And they break the play down well, Ajax. Anyway, that will conclude today's 2 Minute Tuesday. I'm using the word 2 very loosely there, but that will conclude this video so far. Let me know your score predictions for tonight's games and obviously tomorrow night's games. And if you do enjoy, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and keep your eyes peeled for maybe some Champions League content coming your way over the next few days. But I will leave you guys there. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and most importantly, guys, stay safe. Cheers.
In the combat arena, combat. I like us to stay, but we're always in a combat arena.